Very good evening to everybody and welcome to this next in our Music Revival online live stream series. This is Wednesday the 23rd of February and this is in fact our live stream number 200. I did not think that we would be at this point, but here we are, and 200 live streams, 200 hour-long live streams later, here we are still at it, still coming to you twice a week on various platforms, on Facebook and on YouTube and on my website. And I hope that you can join me for the next hour or so for this special compilation of audience favorites. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. And it's a very, very lovely program chosen by our Facebook viewers, our Facebook audience. We have got everything back in place. Barry is back at the desk. Thank you very much. Welcome back, Barry. Lovely to have you here. Again, sorry. Little Lucy's already here looking at my feet. Little Lucy's needing some attention and very much ensconced. I've used that word often. Ensconced. Lucy is ready for action and ready to make her 200th live stream appearance, I think it is. Lucy, you're all ready for that, but you're going to wait a second. And thank you, of course, we had a little introduction. Thank you to all of you who have been supporting me and who have been supporting me with financial support over the last almost 2 years. Of course, when we do have a 2 years up, final reaching the point of 2 years, which will be at the end of March, on the 28th of March 2020 was when we started. That will, of course, be a big number, a big celebration for us as well. So, Luce, maybe you can, seeing as it is live stream number 200, let's have Luce up right in the beginning. Hello, little Lucy. Oh, you're so sweet. How's little Lucy this evening? Yes, you're feeling very calm and everything is just fine. I'm not sure if we can see you in the picture. Oh, no, there you are. Just hello, Luce. Yes, you're looking forward to the program. Yes, you're looking forward very much to see what the Facebook viewers, and they've been all sending you good wishes to little Lucy because everyone on Facebook loves little Luce. And here's a little paw wave for little Lucy. And you're really wanting to see. Did they request how much is the doggy in the window? No, they didn't, Luce. They didn't ask for that. But they asked for all your other favorites, I'm sure. So I thought about how we could have something special for this program, a kind of review again of some of the favorites. And of course, there's one way to ask about the favorites, about what our audience is enjoying, and that's always just to ask. So I didn't send this out on my mailing list. I didn't send it out to everyone involved. I actually just mentioned it on Facebook and responded to a few of the comments on the recent 4 or 5 Facebook live streams. And the reason I've done this is that for me, it's such a fascinating experience. Often when people do live streams on Facebook, they're interacting with the audience directly, but that means they're actually facing their device. They're on their phone or they're on their iPad and interacting and answering questions as they are being typed in and as they're coming through. And of course, with a live stream like this, with performing, I did try this once or twice in the beginning, and it was just impossible trying to manage a feed of questions coming in between trying to play and perform and keep the audience, the viewing audience, engaged. So I was very interested to see, first of all, what the Facebook audience who are regular watchers, what they would be watching. So of course, welcome to all of them this evening. But also just to point out the fact, and for those of you who aren't on Facebook, how incredibly interesting it is, the Facebook experience. So many people watch regularly. There's a very dedicated and regular Facebook audience who watch twice a week. And it's been fascinating to see how the audience members have got to know each other, the regular appearance of the comments. I'm sure there are many people who are not commenting who are watching as well. But certainly the number of people comment and how they interact. They tell stories about their lives, how they've been interacting this week, what the weather is like, whether it's in York in England, or whether it's in Australia, or whether it's in Mexico, or Istanbul, or various parts of South Africa, etc. And what the activities are and how the seasons are changing. And particularly because we've been coming to you at the same time of day, it's been interesting to see how the comments have been changing and the observations that are made. And one of the most interesting comments or interactions that I saw on Facebook was with my friend Julie, who's in Istanbul in Turkey, and Jerry and Alison, who are in Crichton in KZN. And Julie had remarked about the seasons were changing and winter was coming and the storks were leaving Turkey and migrating. And of course, then Jerry and Alison replied and said, well, in fact, if that was the case, they would look out for them because it wouldn't be long. It would be a couple of weeks before they, in fact, probably arrived on their farm in KZN. And of course, that is such a fascinating story to see this progression and the questions and forward. Have they arrived? They've left. How many have come? Have they arrived yet? And to see how this, as the weeks and the days passed, whether this same group of migrating birds, which had been spotted, I mean, not obviously the same, but a migration, had been left one country and then arrived in another country by an audience that are sharing the same global view. And this is what's so interesting, is the global community who have been formed around these music revival live streams has been really fascinating. It's a little family, I think, that have come together and enjoy seeing their presence. So these are the requests when I put this out to the Facebook family, the Music Revival family, you might say. These are the requests that came through, and I'm going to play them in groups of threes and also mention who asked for what. So I'm going to start off with one of my own pieces, and this was actually the most encouraging response, that out of all the pieces that the community, the people, the viewers who've been viewing regularly could have asked for, the majority of people actually asked for my own compositions, which is hugely encouraging, and I'm hugely grateful for that, because they could have asked for anything. So I'm going to start with a little piece called Hilton Road from the 4 KwaZulu-Natal landscapes. This was asked for by Andrew in Hilton. I also asked the viewers why they would choose it, and Andrew said, well, he likes Hilton Road because that's where he lives. He actually lives in Hilton Road. Also a request from Carol in Bertram, who asked for that as well, and also Julie, as I say, in Istanbul, who one of her favorite pieces is Hilton Road. After that, I will play Debussy, the Arabesque, a piece of music requested by Sally in Durban, who watches regularly and has been a great supporter for many, many years, and also by Charles, who is in Hilton, who is very involved in the local music scene. He asked for anything by Debussy or Satie, so Debussy's Arabesque is going to be the selection there. And then the last of the 3 pieces which I'll play in this first section is the very popular Fantasy Impromptu by Frederick Chopin, one of my own pieces. One of my own favorite pieces, should I say, not one of mine. Asked for by Lorraine from Cape Town, who said that this brings back very special memories for her. When she was sitting under the famous pine trees of Rome and hearing someone play it in the background. Also a special piece for Maria in Hilton, and I know that I played this for Maria's birthday recently, and thinking of Maria, I know that she's lost someone very dear and close to her the last 2 or 3 days. And then also I'll be playing the Fantasy Impromptu for Andrea in Hilton, who asked for anything by Frederick Chopin. So this is my own piece, Hilton Road, the Debussy Arabesque, and the Fantasy Impromptu by Frederick Chopin. that set of 3 musical pieces to start this evening's session, our 200th live stream Music Revivals, 200th live hour-long session. So I said in the beginning titles, the viewing hours of that we've uploaded over the last 2 years, almost 2 years, have been quite substantial, but they've been viewed over 19,000 hours of viewing. So that's a substantial, hugely substantial number of hours that our audience have viewed, and that's only on YouTube, of course. There's also the equal number on Facebook, if not more, as well as on my website. And so those pieces, I started off there with one of my own compositions, Hilton Road, from the 4 KwaZulu-Natal landscapes. That's on the album Midnight Blue, recorded with the saxophonist David Sayeras. I then played the Debussy Arabesque, number 1, and I ended off with that Fantasy Impromptu. It's such a magnificent, really is one of my favorite pieces. Well done, Lorraine. It is certainly one of my favorites. You picked that up. I'm continuing then with 3 pieces of our popular choice. From Facebook and from other sources. I'm going to end off the 3rd piece. It's going to be another of my own compositions, the Midnight Corral, and this is played especially for my very good friends and supporters in Cape Town, David and Michelle. This is a piece that they requested, as well as the Debussy, but they always said this had a special meaning and a special remembrance for them. I think it might have for Lucy as well. And before that, I am going to play the Aria from the Goldberg Variation, and this is for my friend John in Hilton, who's always been not only hugely supportive, but also sends the most wonderful comments. It's just wonderful to receive people's experiences of the show, of the live streams, which of the repertoire they really liked and which of the performances they really connected with. And John's also been very helpful with sourcing and saying that he'd really like to hear some unusual pieces. Respighi Nocturne he found, I'd never heard of that before, as well as some more field nocturnes. And for John, I'm going to play the Goldberg Variations Aria, which is a wonderfully beautiful choice, a really refined, elegant choice. And then to start off this section of 3, not from our Facebook comments, but in fact from Barry himself. Barry, who's sat through now probably the last 120 or 130 of these sessions. And Barry said, well, I would like you to play one of my favorite pieces, one of his favorite pieces. And this is just for Barry. This is the 2nd movement from the sonata in E flat, opus 27, number 1 by Ludwig van Beethoven. Opus 27, number 2, of course, is the famous Moonlight Sonata. But there's this very evocative 2nd movement, which has just got a mysterious, repetitive, and quite a driven nature. And Barry's very fond of Beethoven's music. And of course, he hears me practicing, has heard me practice for the last 28 or 30 years, 28 years. How long has it been now? Endlessly. So whenever I play something, whenever Barry calls it tiddly, whenever I play something that suddenly takes his fancy, he occasionally pokes his head around the door and says, what was that? I quite like that. But of course, Barry's heard me practice absolutely everything, whether he likes it or not. So this, just for Barry, is the 2nd movement from the Beethoven Sonata, opus 27, number 1, the Goldberg Variations Aria, and my own composition, Midnight Corral. I ended that selection of 3 pieces there with one of my own, one of my own compositions, the Midnight Corral. Special request from my friends David and Michelle, Cape Town. Before that, I played the Goldberg Variations for John and Hilton, and I started off that with the second movement from the Sonata Opus 27 number 1 by Ludwig van Beethoven. I think I need a bit more practice on that one. Sorry about that. As I was going to say earlier, these pieces, of course, were all chosen and presented to me in the last day or two. So it's about the music and not always about the performance. And gosh, there were a few little things in the midst of all this calm, that chaos of Beethoven, and also diving into the middle of a sonata when I'm used to playing the whole sequence of the first movement for 4 is quite a challenge. But nevertheless, there we go. So our next selection of 3 pieces, I am going to play music by Schubert, Rachmaninoff, and another of my own improvisations, this time for, let me see, the impromptu in A flat from the first set of Schubert's impromptu for Philippa, who is in Hilton. Philippa wrote to me an email explaining how the live streams had been a really wonderful opportunity for her to share the music with her father, who was not only staying with her at some point after the loss of his wife, her mother, but also when they were in separate places, they could communicate and share this experience together. And I think that's a very, very poignant and an experience that I've seen in several times on Facebook, where people have been able to watch in different parts of the world sometimes and really share very memorable experiences together, watching and commenting on the same idea. The second piece of music I'd like to play, also Schubert, I'll be playing for Jean in Kensington, Johannesburg. Jean asked for another Beethoven sonata, which I won't be able to fit into this evening's program, but I will certainly be bringing it back in the next week. So Jean, I hope you enjoy this the Schubert impromptu in A flat. Second piece, a Rachmaninoff prelude, the Rachmaninoff prelude in G minor for Marianne. My friend Marianne in Peter Maritzburg asked for this, and I was thinking, gosh, this is rather relevant music, a prelude that speaks of great Russian military pride and force, very up to date and very to the point even today. We all hold our breaths and see what's going to happen, but focus on the music. This is Rachmaninoff's very brilliant and exciting piece, and again, it just has sprung on me in the last day or so. And then I'm going to end off that selection with another of my own pieces, this time an improvisation. One of the improvisations that I played at the beginning of a program at the end. Every time, all 200 streams, I've played a little piece that I've made up, really on the spot. And sometimes I've come up with something I quite like, and then I separate these and keep them, and sometimes play it again. And this was one that I played on the 2nd of September in the year 2000. That's almost 18 months ago. And I quite liked it. It's a piece that I've played several times, and it's also been a favorite of Sibongile in Pretoria, who said that these pieces, the programs, and this was very interesting, her response, the programs for her were a wonderful experience. The fact that she's discovered and I've introduced a number of pieces of different composers to her and to other viewers that she would have never otherwise experienced, and also been able to explain a little bit about the music and about something about it. Sibongile went on to say that she likes this improvisation because of the harmonies and the layers, the very structured layers in the music, and also that it's in the key of A major. Well, that's absolutely, what a great response. I mean, that's all the questions answered that I needed on that one. Bright, brilliant key with these undulating layers in between, and it's such a very optimistic piece that just was improvised one day and I've kept. So here we go, Schubert impromptu, a Rachmaninoff prelude where I'm going to work quite hard, and an improvisation of my own in A major. It suddenly got very warm in here, the Rachmaninoff. That's hard work. It's amazing how the concentration, the physical action of playing has really turned up the heat. I might even have to put the air conditioning back on. So those were 3 pieces there for from the Facebook request. If you're just joining us for our 200th stream, that was a Rachmaninoff prelude, an improvisation in A major, and I started off with the Schubert impromptu in A flat from the 4th impromptu from the first set. All favorites of mine, and I'm sure favorites of yours as well. So the last selection of pieces, the last 2 pieces that I'm going to be playing on this evening program, are certainly the most popular. The great, very exciting, and of course this is another very daunting experience for me to play La Campanella by Franz Liszt. La Campanella being the small bells, a very evocative piece, and not only because it has this very memorable melody, but like any set of theme with subsequent variations, the melody is repeated again and again and again, which is very comforting, but it's also very exciting because Liszt makes it very difficult to start with and increasingly difficult until it's almost impossible to play. It drives the crescendo with increasing intensity and increasing number of notes and brilliance into the most resounding finale, which really tests the piano and the pianist. My piano is a little bit out of tune this evening. My piano tuner couldn't get to me today or yesterday, and well, I mean, after 200 streams, it's actually not sounding too bad. I'm thinking like everyone else, it's sounding a little bit on the edge, a little bit worn at the moment, very much in keeping, I think, where everyone is right now. So Liszt's La Campanella, a very tricky piece. It's meant to sound tricky. It's meant to sound exciting. Always a daunting one, and of course you play one wrong note and everyone knows it, but we'll see. I'll just do my best and hope that you'll hear the music and not the performance. And then the last piece, a number of pieces of music that everyone asked for, La Campanella being asked for by James in Pietermaritzburg as well as by Jenny, and also in PMB, and then Umbumbulu was asked for by Noreen, who is in England. Can't wait for Wednesday was Noreen's response. I think she said to me a few weeks ago, we haven't heard Umbumbulu for a while. It's a great number. And also Julie in Turkey asked for it, one of her favorite pieces and something that was always very exciting. So this is the last of my pieces for the evening. The Umbumbulu from the 4 KwaZulu-Natal landscapes, but before that, Liszt's La Campanella. Lucy, you just need to wait your turn, and then you can come on the stream. Everyone can say hello to you. I'm going to turn the air on. we've run so far over time. It's 20 past 8. The computers are starting to fail because they've been on for too long. Something's gone wrong with the mixer and the microphone. So anyway, that was ending off two pieces like Campanella by Franz Liszt and Umbumbulu, one of our own pieces, to end off this evening's session. A very mixed and a very unusual concoction. I don't think I've ever played such a strange program of Rachmaninoff's preludes and lists like Campanella in connection with my piece and the Goldberg and Chopin. Not the kind of programming I'd normally put together. Excuse me. I had something in my throat. But certainly it was your choice. So the choice this evening of our Facebook viewers, I hope you've enjoyed the selection. If you are on our mailing lists and regular followers and you're feeling left out, don't be, because obviously at the end of March we will have another session, similar session, where I'll give you plenty of time and we'll have maybe one or two programs, a Wednesday and a Saturday, compiled from the listeners' choices, from those who are following and those who are supporting us. Very important. And if you would like to support us, of course, or support me, you'll find all the details at my donate page at my website, Music Revival. And of course, thank you to everyone who is continuing, almost 2 years later, continuing to support me. At the end of March, we will have that final recollection, bring all the favorites together, and then we'll see what's going to happen from there. Let's just have a look to see who's here. Little Lucy is, of course, ready to come to action. Lucy's ready for her live stream performance. Hello, Luce. Oh, you're feeling very uncomfortable. What's wrong? Hello, Luce. And Lucy, which was your favorite? Oh, yes, but I know that Umbumbulu is just your best because you want to go to Umbumbulu. Yes, it was a place you've always wanted to visit. You've heard about it, but you've never been there. You would like to go and visit. And Lucy, what else is happening? No, you're just having a jolly good old time. Okay. And let's see who else is here. Frida's inside the basket. Here's little Wendy Pop with the waggy tail. Wendy Pop, Wendy Pop, Wendy Pop. Hello, Wendy Pop. Oh, yes, you're sitting very comfortable. Yes, you enjoyed the music, and you much prefer it in the air condition. You like it in the music room when the air conditioning is on, because then it's cool. Oh, you've got such a sweet little face. Look at that. And is Frida going to come up too? Come, Frieds. Yes, Frida's going to come out of inside the cushion. Come on, Freedy Pop. There we go. You got to say hello to everyone. Yes, you also enjoyed here. You've been inside. You like to keep warm underneath everything. You like to burrow inside. Little Frida. There we go. Oh, Lucy's very close. Well, thank you to Barry for the technical support once again this evening. Thank you to everyone who's watching, it's 27 minutes past 8, it's almost an hour and a half stream, but I hope you've all enjoyed the favorite selection tonight. Look forward to seeing you again on Saturday when I have a selection, a beautiful Schubert sonata, an extended sonata in G major, hey, girls, and as well as a Mozart sonata in C. So it's going to be start with a new cycle, stream 201, with some very fresh music. Stay well, look after yourselves, keep well, and thank you to everyone who did respond and who did send in requests for the show. Hope you've enjoyed hearing your selections. See you next time.